Welcome back to the Junius Malpe channel. Thanks for being here and joining in today's news and conversation. I've been away for a little bit. It's getting to be that busy time of year, so I apologize for the time spaces and lapses in between updates, videos, and these conversations, which some of you seem to appreciate. But thanks for being here, so let's get right to the news. Some interesting stuff today that I came across. And the biggest one, the one I want to talk about the most, is Iraq buys $1.56 billion of gold. Biggest purchased in 3 years. The Central Bank of Iraq acquired the metal. This is what the article is going to tell us. To help stabilize the Iraqi dinar, their currency, against foreign currencies. It said this in an emailed statement. Iraq bought 36 metric tons of gold this month, valued at $1.56 billion, in the largest purchase by a nation in 3 years. The Central Bank of Iraq acquired the metal to help stabilize the Iraqi dinar against foreign currencies. The country held about 29.8 tons of bullion as of August, according to data on the International Monetary Fund's website. The latest addition was the biggest since Mexico bought 78.5 tons in March of 2011. Gold, and this is an interesting quote. Listen to this. So, one of the people interviewed in the article, his name is Mark O'Byrne. He's a director in Dublin at the brokerage Goldcore Limited, which has more than $200 million in bullion under management. And this is what he said today by phone. Gold is quite attractive to central bankers, sorry. They see it as an important asset, diversification, and a safe haven element within foreign exchange reserves. So, kind of a dual, it's funny, if you think about, we talk about this a lot here, how central banks hold all this gold, they buy it, they covet it, they use gold as a way to shore up their currency and make it stronger compared to other currencies. The Iraqi dinar wants to have some strength, so what do they do? They buy some gold, and that supposedly adds strength to their currency, which I find interesting because a lot of these architects and these pilots of the economy, whatever you want to call them, these economists, these central bankers, these Fed chairmen, the Janet Yellens and the Angela Merkels, she controls Germany, but she does have a lot of power over the European Union and their economy. It's amazing that these individuals seem to talk down to gold, and you've seen it. You know what I'm getting at here. They call it an archaic or a barbarous relic. Remember the quote, remember the interview when Benjamin Bernanke was getting drilled and questioned by Ron Paul, and he said that the reason they hold gold may be because of tradition. They hold it out of some kind of a tradition. Because Ron Paul asked him, why does the Fed hold gold if it's not valued, if we don't need to back currency with it, if it has no purpose really? And Bernanke called it a tradition. So, if it's good enough for central banks, it's good enough for you. That's what I like to say when it comes to holding gold. And I think Iraq's making a good move. You wonder why today, why this month, and why at these prices. So, obviously, if some of the people controlling Iraq were feeding them information, if they made a decision, let's get to this point, if Iraq made a decision to lock in at gold at whatever the prices may be this month, in the $1,300 range. I don't know exactly what it was when they purchased. Today's what, $1,311, $1,312 because of yesterday's dip. But somewhere in that range, Iraq bought a lot of gold. 36 metric tons. They might know something. Maybe this is a low. It's a good place to lock in. I don't know. But I know that Iraq thought so. They've probably got some people helping them out with their info, and we'll see where it goes from there. But good job, Iraq. You know, good going. That's quite a stack. Be proud of yourselves. 36 metric tons. Big question is, here's a big question. What happened to all that gold they had? I don't know if you ever looked up the pictures and saw them, but Saddam had huge bars of gold. There was some caves or some underground areas where they found just tons and tons of gold hoarded up. But I don't know whatever came of that. You saw some images of it during the initial stages of the Iraq War, maybe 10, 12 years ago. That's about it. Okay, let's get to a couple other headlines, and then we're going to talk about another metal, palladium. So, some headlines here. Ryan Jordan says, "Why I still believe in gold and silver." That's on the Silver News blog. Americans can't retire when Bill Gross sees repression. That's a Bloomberg article. I took a quick read of it, and it's the same old thing. You guys know what it is. Cost of living's going up. Americans can't afford to retire. Their savings isn't yielding any income because there is no interest rates, whereas years ago people could put money in the bank and live off interest. A lot of the accounts that these people hold, whether it's 401ks and pension accounts or whatever, just not giving them the money to keep up with the rising cost of living, food, gas, just everyday expenses. So Americans can't retire. We just got to work till we die. Another interesting article, why silver could outshine gold. That's from The Street. Now, a lot of you silver bugs out there, sorry, I apologize, I didn't mean to use the word bugs. Silver hawks. See, we're so programmed to use the bug word, but I hate it. Gold hawks, silver hawks, dragons, as a friend of ours on the channel has brought up. We can be called dragons, that's a good one. But silver got a lot going for it. Upside. I think the price point here at 20 bucks, as we've talked about in my little 7,000 years of money video, where we talk about silver specifically. Silver, as we know, is below production costs. So it's on sale, it's cheap right now, it's a great buy. You could not go out and find an ounce of silver and refine it into that condition for 20 bucks. You just couldn't do it. And mines have a very hard time doing it as well. So silver could outshine gold. However, I'm still a gold guy. New 600-ton vault opens in Singapore. It hopes to meet silver bullion storage demand. A lot of people storing up silver in Singapore. Here's an interesting one. You know the whole thing with India, right? I don't know if you guys follow it. I don't really bring a lot of these headlines to the channel, but as we know, India's passed some laws curbing importation of gold, so now gold is being smuggled into India. But it's also, not only is gold being smuggled in and causing a lot of problems, you know, they caught some guy that had gold in the lining of a flower pot to try to get into the country, but people are just trying to bring in kilos after kilos without paying these import taxes or whatever it is. It has caused a major increase in the amount of silver being imported into India. So now, because the government there has kind of blocked or caused gold to be more expensive to bring in, it's driving a lot of those consumers and people who would be purchasing gold for whatever reason to avoid inflation or whatever, what have you, to buy silver. So silver demand has seen a major increase in the nation of India. And as we all know, it's a large customer base. There's over 1 billion people there, and they like to buy metals because they don't like fiat. They don't like paper. So keep an eye on that. That could have a major impact on the price of silver, especially if people that carry these around start dumping a lot of these for a lot of that. You know, the more rupees that get spent on silver, well, they're going to take silver off the market globally and drive the price up for you and me. But good for them. Go for it. Buy as much silver as you can. India. Okay, I thought this was an interesting one. Walmart makes it official. It relies on food stamp recipients for profits. So there you go. Walmart is basically funded by the government. So Walmart's basically a branch of the U.S. government now. It's in the food stamp recipient business. They basically they work as a soup kitchen, a bread line, the electronic bread line. These people get food stamps, they go to Walmart and spend them, and Walmart makes some profit off of it. So you and I as taxpayers are supporting the entity known as Walmart. So I know, hey, I've shopped at Walmart, you've shopped at Walmart, maybe you haven't, but I had gone there occasionally. It is an otherworldly experience, especially if you go there after 11 o'clock at night. You might see alien life forms about, but it's an interesting place to go some days. However, don't want to pass any judgment on Walmart people or anything like that. It's not the point here. The point is, for those of you who don't believe in supporting Walmart and you don't like their business practices, you don't like what they do as a company, I'm going to have to tell you, tough luck. Tough. Because you are supporting Walmart. If you pay your taxes, you're supporting Walmart. Because we just heard it, the articles are out there, it is official. Walmart relies on food stamps for profits. So in order for Walmart to make a profit, they need food stamps. Well, where do food stamps come from? They come from taxes. They come from you and me, the taxpayers, giving the money to the government out of our labor, income taxes, what have you, whatever. And therefore, Walmart is taking money from you and I for profits. That was kind of disgusting. I didn't enjoy that article at all. I don't like that bit of news, but it's the way things are. Now we're on to the next big article of the day, which I liked reading. It's Guess Which Precious Metal is Controlled by the Russians? Here it is. Palladium. Palladium is like the Rodney Dangerfield of precious metals. It never gets any respect. This is right off of Zero Hedge, and it's confirmed. It is a good article. It is true. I don't know if many of you know about palladium. I don't have any. I have friends that have had it. I believe even my dad had some palladium at one point. He got rid of it, unfortunately. But I remember, I've tracked it over the years, and I remember when palladium was hanging around like sub $200 range. And there was all that rumor and speculation that perhaps palladium was the key to cold fusion or something, some energy creation, all these things. It's a great metal. It's extremely rare. It's in the platinum family. I don't know terribly too much about it, but I do know that it's rare, and I know that there's not a lot of places that produce it. In the United States, there's, I believe, a palladium mine in Montana, which is productive. There's a palladium mine in Russia, and those are really two of the key places. So basically the Rocky Mountains in the United States, and then you have some places in the mountains of Russia. Maybe it's the Urals. But it's one of those obscure precious metals that few people even think about or know about. Everyone really has heard of gold or silver, and occasionally, you'll have people that hear about and talk about and invest in or purchase platinum. Well, there is palladium coins. You can get them. I know they have them on APMEX and other places. Well, here's what's going on. Because of all this tension in Russia, people don't realize that because most of the palladium is mined in Russia, the prices may have a pretty moderate boost. And they've gone up about 5.3% in 5 months. But given what's happening in Russia, prices could soar if there's a lot of... Because the industrial world does rely on palladium for a lot of different uses. It is even used, I believe, in some catalytic converters. But you'd have to look up exactly where it goes, where it's all used. The point is, if all these sanctions occur and all this tension with Russia just keeps getting out of hand, we could see a major supply side reduction for the West. And, being that the West is the most industrialized and spends the most money on these types of products, we could see a major increase in the price and value of palladium. So it might be a good time to get a couple palladium coins. They look just like silver, almost. I mean, it's almost identical in color. It just has different properties to it. So take a look at it. It's used in a variety of industrial applications, everywhere. Everything from spark plugs, I guess, to catalytic converters, hydrocarbon cracking, and electronic components. So there's a lot of different applications for it. And, take a look at it, see where we're at. But, it just goes to show there's a lot of choices out there for metals, and it's nice because there's a limited amount of them. They all take work to get out of the ground. And Palladium's done pretty well. I remember, like I said, it was at 200 or below 200, and I think it's even today. If I check, let's take a look. Last time I looked a couple weeks ago, I think it was 500. Might have been $500 an ounce. Let's see. That's a pretty good rise, especially, you know, this definitely hasn't performed as well as some of the other metals, and it definitely has had some volatility. I guess all of them do, however, but you know, look into it. The other thing I would say about palladium would be it's probably more difficult to unload in a crunch time type of a scenario. It's not the easy, like if it's not common, a lot of people don't know what it is. You know, you might go up to somebody. Everyone in the world pretty much knows what gold is. There would be, I would imagine, some people that didn't know exactly what palladium was. If you talk to me, you tried to sell it for a market price or whatever, it'd be hard to barter and trade with it. Oh, here you go, $785 for an ounce of palladium. That's incredible. Yeah, I remember when it was much cheaper than that, about $500 cheaper than that. Should have bought some. Should have, would have, could have. All right, well there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Junius Maltby episode for today. We'll close with, found the last headline, I guess, was that we already talked about it, silver imports in India, but it says silver imports soar 180% in India. So the amount of silver that going into India now is 180% more than it was, as a direct result of government actions, government manipulation of free markets, and trying to curb the importation of gold and paying taxes on it, so on. All right, hope you enjoyed today's news briefing. If anything else pops up today, if I find anything else ground breaking, earth shaking, I'm sure I will find time to make a video of it. Alrighty, have a good spring. Hope you're out there in the garden. Get composting, get your plants started, and prune your fruit trees, and get ready for it. Alright, keep stacking.